My whole career has been about me avoiding being famous.
Which is wild because you were an artist. J.Valentine is a prominent singer, songwriter, and producer who's worked with the likes of Tyrese, Keisha Cole, Mario, and Omarion. He's also a host with his longtime friend and business partner Tank on the R&B Money podcast.
We always run to the check. Like, everybody talks about owning their masters. Well, what do you do with them when you got them? Did you make anything off of it? Or are you just saying that to just pump your chest up and to now lead these kids into thinking that if you own your masters, you're automatically rich? Stars never want to make other stars. Most stars don't hang out with each other. Stars hang out with people that can help them stay a star. And as soon as someone bubbles, that person somehow is not connected to them anymore. It's a very weird thing, but very real. I'm doing me. And I'm doing me as a good person who really wants to help other people.
To whom much is given, much is required. Part of that requirement is sharing. Culture is the heartbeat within our lives, and it's at the core of so many things. While we live in a time when we are starving for wisdom, I welcome you to your wisdom retreat at Culture Raises Us. I would love to hear, when you hear culture, what does that mean to you?
Culture to me is, I just think of black people. I mean, that's the first thing that I think of because I think we influence everything. The American black person, you know, this new race that was created when we got here.
New race?
I mean, literally, you know, that's how I look at it. I look at it like, you know, we were dropped off somewhere and we made the most of it, from the food to the music. You know, there wasn't R&B music in Africa. R&B music was made in America. You know what I mean? So, you know, yes, we brought the drum, but the black person, a black American person, to me, that's culture.
You know, I've had the pleasure of knowing you for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I mean, you were an artist when we first met, and I was doing. You still are. I mean, listen.
I've always been at halftime, man. It's always been halftime.
And I was doing entertainment marketing at that time at Nike, and you've always been a stand-up person. First and foremost, and consistent, and it always brings me joy to see you winning.
Thank you.
Which I'm glad you're in that space. You have so much experience within this music space, and we're going to jump into that. I'd love to hear from you. Was there a particular moment where you realized how influential music culture was or is to overall culture as we know it?
I think when I just couldn't get away from it. I feel like music is just something you can't get away from. If you're outside, you're going to get music somewhere. If you go to a game, they're going to play it between, you know, the intermissions or the half times. If you're going, you know, obviously concert. If you're at a movie, you're going to hear music. You turn the dial in your car, you're going to hear music. Like, music is everywhere. And sometimes even when you're trying to drive with none on, somebody next to you, especially, you know, when them old school players ride up on you with that Harley.
That's right. That's right.
Playing Flashlight, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, it's just, you doing.
It's wild.
You playing Flashlight that loud?
That loud?
In the middle of the
like,
street?
Really?
But I feel like with music, man, it's just something you just can't get away from.
It's funny when you talk about even driving and having music in the car. I can't not have music playing in the car. It's too quiet. Like, I need the vibe. I need the feel. I need the vibration of it, it's crazy. It's wild.
I ride sometimes, actually, not a lot of times I ride with nothing playing.
Really?
Yeah. When I got my kids in the car, I play music.
Right.
But like, if it's just me, sometimes I need to, I have a little more creative moments when I'm just driving. And I think that happened for me during the pandemic. The roads were empty. And I just needed to just kind of get through my thoughts, and I was trying to create things that I felt would be important for me once we came out. Once we came out of the pandemic. And, you know, I think most people were trying to figure out, like, okay, I can shift now because the world is going to be different when everybody's back outside. So for me, I would just drive. I would take these drives and I would just be in my thoughts of, okay, what could I do? What's next for me? And that just helped me be more creative during that time.
What are some of the things that came from that?
The podcast.
Podcast, R&B Money. So R&B Money came from
the pandemic.
The pandemic.
Yeah.
Wow.
Tank it. And it's so crazy how him and I think like we're aligned in a lot of things in a lot of ways where he'll call me and I was like, "Boy, that's crazy. I was just thinking about that." Or I'll call him and he'll say the same thing. And that's, how the podcast was. I mean, for me personally, it came from listening though. I was listening to interviews. I would just play, through my phone and ride sometimes. And you know how on YouTube it'll go from one video to the next just randomly. And I don't know what the initial video was, but somehow it ended up on a George Foreman interview.
Okay.
And he was talking about how boxing, I can't think of it verbatim now because I've never even seen the actual interview.
Right.
I thought I heard it,
Just
right?
excerpt, right.
Right? I thought I heard it. I haven't, and it's funny enough, I haven't even gone back to try to find it. It's just like it impacted me in it, and I just took it for what it was.
Yeah.
But he talked about how boxing made him wealthy but didn't make him wealthy. The fame of boxing
made him wealthy.
And then he talked about how he was a spokesperson for other companies at first because of his fame, which ultimately led to him having a conversation with someone who said he needed his own product.
Okay.
Which became the Foreman Grill. Which had already existed, was already a grill. They just attached his name to it.
Branded.
And he was able to brand it, and the rest is history. He made, $200-300 million, whatever he ended up making. And for me, I was thinking, like, what's my Foreman Grill? Like, what can be my Foreman Grill? And then I thought about all of the times that I avoided being famous. My whole career has been about me avoiding being famous.
Which is wild because you were an artist.
I was an artist because I love music and I love the art, and because it was also something that I was pushed into in the family, really early age. Yeah. So it was second nature for me. But I never wanted to be famous. But then I realized, I'm like, in order to sell products, to do the things that I want to do in business, it helps if I'm a known person selling it to you and talking about it. And my first thing that I tried during the pandemic is I had a T-shirt made in honor of my father that I only made 100 of them. I made them limited edition, and I sourced out all the things. I literally had someone make a painting of a picture that my father had taken because I had heard that that's how they did with blaxploitation back in the day. Like they would, for the posters, someone would actually paint them. They would paint them, and that's why they look the way they look. So I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna do this whole tour T-shirt for a street guy. You know what I mean? All the places he hustled, all the places, and that's what I made this shirt for my father. It was the 10 Toes Down tour, right? Gosh. And we sold out in like 7 days, 8 days. Sold the shirts for $100. The vintage tees, people loved them, sold them out, and because people had heard the story and different things with my father and then with me as well. But I'm thinking to myself like, oh, this is how I'm going to do business. But I realized, which is funny because I kind of said this to you earlier, I don't do interviews. So I'm like, all right, well, to be famous, you kind of gotta
do a little bit of it.
So I'll do it in reverse. I'll do the interviewing. I'll sit on the couch. I'll ask the questions. So I don't have to be interviewed. And that's really, for me, my side of wanting to do the podcast.
Right. And then what was it for Tank? What was it?
For Tank, his is, he wants to be at the forefront of everything R&B.
Yeah.
As well as I.
Right.
But that was his main focus, right? But then
serving the culture.
Yeah.
Celebrating it, speaking to it the way that it deserves to be spoken about and to.
But as his business partner and his manager at the time, I'm like, they also need to see your personality. This is why it's going to work for you. You're really funny, very talented, very charismatic, and I think a lot of times you just get looked at as like this R&B buff guy,
right,
who's singing about love or heartbreak or having sex and all this other stuff. And I'm like, no, bro, you're really fucking funny, like really hilarious.
Yeah.
And have so much more that you can show if you had a platform for that. So we were just, like I said, we were of like minds and aligned in that situation, and everything was, as we're having the conversation, you notice in doing business and in being in partnerships, you gotta go with things where both of y'all are like, yeah, right. And yeah. There was never a moment where we're like, nah, I don't know about this or that. We weren't fighting it. You know what I mean? The biggest fight was, do I want to sit in front of this camera? That was our biggest fight.
Getting you in front of the camera with him.
Yeah, that was our biggest fight.
Hilarious. And he was obviously an advocate of, you need to be sitting here next to me doing this.
Tank is the biggest advocate of me.
I love that.
Which is very rare because stars never want to make other stars.
Which is unfortunate.
It's very unfortunate, but it's the truth. I mean, we can go down the line. Most stars don't hang out with each other. Stars hang out with people that can help them stay a star. And as soon as someone bubbles, that person somehow is not connected to them anymore. So it's a very weird thing, but very real.
I feel like that's an opportunity for us to visit that on this next chapter of our respective journey. How are we creating this collective and lifting each other up without feeling like we're going to lose something? Because I think a lot of it comes from this thought of, well, it's going to take away from me.
Yeah.
It's going to take away from what we've created. And it might stem back to the crabs in the barrel mentality. And there's got to be an element of breaking that and being able to show, like, when you get your dollar, that doesn't mean, or when somebody else gets a dollar, doesn't mean your dollar is going to now go down to 50 cents.
Right. I think, in my opinion, I think more of us should play team sports. Team sports. Like, more of us should, because it just gives you an outlook of brotherhood or sisterhood, and of depending on somebody else too, and not feeling a way about somebody else scoring.
It's funny you mention that, because obviously, knowing you well, I know how you came about in this with your family and the Neutrons. You were in the group with your brothers and all that, and I know how much music plays a role in your character.
Yeah.
But I also know how much basketball plays.
Yeah, I love basketball.
No, listen, and we have a lot. Like I know how much that plays a role, and you just talked a little bit about this, about team sports. Talk about how basketball and team sports has helped to kind of shape and mold you and those cultures and those nuances, which I'm so glad you even attributed it to the question prior to this, of having stars be comfortable with elevating stars.
Yeah.
You say team sports. Talk about how basketball has played this role for you, and how the team sports piece, why is that so critical, you think, for this next elevation?
Well, for me personally, it's always just been a source of enjoyment and relief. When my brother passed when I was 11, the first thing I went and did, I went to play basketball. I went to the park by myself, and I just shot around, just so it was like I could get my mind off of
place of joy,
the world and the things that were going on with me at the time. But then, at that point, I wasn't even playing organized sports. Because I was fully engulfed in music. We were, our group in the Neutrons, and so we weren't getting to play, team sports. But I just loved basketball. I was just being at school. And then later on, when I got to experience that, I realized, like, oh, I'm a person that really enjoys helping other people succeed.
But you're also a point guard.
You know what I mean? Like, so for me, and as they would say, which I don't even know if they truly exist anymore, a pure point guard.
Pure point guard.
Like, I get enjoyment off of
seeing somebody win and getting a good shot up in their rhythm, and assist.
You know what I mean? And winning.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with winning. Like, as they say, like, I love winning. I hate losing more than I actually love winning.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hate losing. I do not like to lose. Not to the point that I want to cheat.
Right.
But I want to win.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play my hardest. I'm going to surround myself with people who understand the game, you know, who don't take the bad shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that plays, and I look at that in life. A lot of people out here taking bad shots. A lot of people are pulling up on a double team.
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, somebody's wide open under the basket.
Mm-hmm.
That connects to life too. And Tank and I think our relationship was built off of basketball, one, but also of our understanding of sports and understanding that in sports and team sports, you need other players and you need other people to shine for us to win as an organization, as a team, as a collective. So, you know, like you said, you're talking about as a collective. I think for me, that's been really important. And even still, I've been doing a private basketball run for almost 20 years. Literally, for almost 20, maybe 20 years at this point. That every Tuesday and Thursday,
get it in,
we're playing basketball.
I miss those.
You know what I
days.
mean? Like, and it's important to me. And I've had everyone you can think of, from music to like professional athletes. I'm talking about from Chris Brown to Kyrie Irving, to DK Metcalf, football player, to Michael B. Jordan. To, you know what I'm saying? Like, where we could come, and I guess it's kind of been my golf course a little bit, because I don't want to play golf.
Hold up! Don't say you don't want to. You have not started.
No, I don't want to. I don't like the outdoors.
I was there.
No.
I've been where you are.
But mine is different. I don't like the outdoors.
Really?
Nah.
What's wrong with the outdoors?
If I'm going outdoors, I'm going to the beach. I don't want to go to grass.
Okay.
I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm glad we're documenting this right now, because we're going to be revisiting this in years, and I hope this change.
No, I mean, I'm going to get older, yeah. So I'm going to have to find something else to do, yeah. But you know what I mean? Because at some point they're going to be like, all right, Jay, you and this pull-up jumper, you got to at least get back up on defense,
right? Because you're just going to be waiting down
there. At some point, I'm
there.
not going to be able to get back on defense. I get it.
Exactly.
But golf for me, like, I'm not against it.
Hear you.
But like I said, I'm not an outdoorsy guy.
Okay.
So, you know, I don't want to either be in like the blazing heat or go so early that it's cold. You trying to figure out all these things. I don't like, alcohol is celebratory for me. It is a toast.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh yeah. Pour me a. I'm cool with water.
I was so there. This sounds so cute.
What I mean?
I was so there.
And cigars are disgusting to me.
Wow. I so can't wait. We're gonna have another conversation in like 5 to 10.
You see what I said though? I didn't fully.
You did.
Yeah,
you did. And I love that. You know, one of the things you said there when you talked about, you know, being a guard and a point guard. It's so often I look back at, you know, my career, my time playing ball. It was very much the same thing, but I noticed the correlation of, I was a point guard who always wanted to put people in position to succeed.
Yes.
As a point guard, you have to know, okay, he likes to get the ball here so that he can go straight up for his jump shot, or he likes to get in a rhythm where he could just go up with his left, even though he's a righty.
Yeah.
Right? Once you know the key attributes of those that you play with and you lean into that, you now not only are helping them to be their best selves, but you're helping the team.
Yeah.
And that is such, and you said it so well, a transferable skill into life. And now I look at my walk and my journey, I'm still a point guard.
Yes.
I'm still looking to ensure that I'm putting people in positions to be the best version of themselves and have others see the greatness that is within them, right? Yeah. Because we don't do that enough.
No.
To
assist. We don't assist enough.
We don't. I wonder if assists have gone down in the league. This just came to my head. Have assists gone down?
I don't think they have, because of the way that the league is set up now.
Meaning?
Like, the extra steps and
Euros.
It still counts after this many dribbles, and I'm like, okay, I guess that's an assist.
Right.
You know what I mean? But and I think since scoring is higher.
Right.
Scoring
you would
is
think
higher,
assists would then, but that could
up.
also be attributed to the individual doing the work to score more, as opposed to somebody putting in position to score more.
Yeah.
Wow. We just
there aren't many John Stocktons and Jason Kidds.
No.
I can't think of a Jason Kidd in the NBA right now.
A J Kidd in the
6'4".
That's a
monster defender.
Visibility,
Like
putting people in position to succeed.
I can't think of one.
No, you got me.
I can't think of one.
Yeah, it's.
You got a couple little guys who pass because they're told they have to pass to stay in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't got guys that are like, oh well, I'm the leader of the team, but I'm also.
And I'm not even the top scorer because everybody attributes the lead scorer to be the leader. And again, such transferable principles and just elements that make total sense. But again, it goes beyond the sport. And that's why I know how much that plays a role in who you are. What's your thoughts? I want to bring it back to the music piece, which you have the heavy roots in. Was there a golden era of music for you? Was there like a moment where you're like, yo, this time was so magical because?
I don't know. Most people say 90s R&B, but I think 80s because of Michael Jackson and Prince. We don't, there was no Michael Jackson or Prince in the 90s.
No.
You know what I mean? They were in the 90s, but I'm saying like we didn't have a new version of those guys.
Right.
So to me, the two greatest guys who lived in that era, those are the guys that I'm sticking with. And Marvin Gaye is cracking. And New Edition is cracking. Like I get this whole 90s nostalgia thing. It's the music felt really good, yes, in the 90s. The shit that came in the 80s, NWA, Run DMC, because that was when hip hop really got cracking. I get it started in the 70s, but it got cracking.
In the 80s.
In the 80s. You know, MC Hammer, dog. Listen, I'm from the Bay. So I'm going to always shout out Hammer. This guy was doing arenas when black people couldn't do arenas.
That's right.
He
selling out.
He literally, and I guess I have to use this term, he was the sacrificial lamb for hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Taco Bell commercials, Adam's Family Value, he was doing brand partnerships when it was frowned upon.
Right. That was
things that
looked
we're
upon
looking
as selling
for
out.
now. Selling out. He got ridiculed for that. For being a clean enough artist to partner with big business and Fortune 500 companies. He has to be celebrated, man. He has to be. So when people are like, oh, he didn't pop out for this, or, why they didn't, cause listen, did they have it set up right for MC Hammer?
So is it safe to say, so I think you definitely have a point of view on an error. Is it safe to say in terms of individuals from an R&B standpoint, the first two names you mentioned were MJ and Prince. But I do want to hear about the Hammer piece, because I feel like they're all super, super influential in terms of shaping not just R&B, but music culture on both ends. And as I'm listening to you, it sounds like from an artistry standpoint, Michael and Prince.
Yes.
From a business standpoint.
Business too, though.
And you can touch on that too.
Yeah.
But from a business, the way you broke down Hammer, I never really took it through that lens.
Listen, the Burrell brothers, Hammer and his brother, Lewis, monsters in business. Monsters. They went diamond. Diamond album. You know what I mean? They start off as an independent. Busted Records was an independent before they did the Capitol deal. So the terms were favorable once they got in there because they were already cracking. They were already out the trunk. You know what I mean? So it's like, because when indie artists, when they get going, they do good numbers and they do enough to get to that place to now the label can, partner with them. And they're not expected to sell 10 million albums.
That's right.
So I can only imagine what that really looked like business-wise. You know what I'm saying?
And that was pre No Limit.
Everything.
Cash money,
Everything. That was black ownership. Busted Records was black ownership.
which is, I think, a great segue when you talk about the impact of Black creatives and what they've had on, what we've had on shaping music culture and cultures alike. I think there is a significant disparity, though, on Black ownership.
Because we always run to the check. We always run to the check, honestly. And I'm not mad at anybody for going and taking care of their family, because to be an entrepreneur and to be an owner of something, you also have to know how to exploit it as an owner. You have to understand how to license it. Like, everybody talks about owning their masters. Well, what do you do with them when you got them?
Mm-hmm.
You just say, I own my masters. Okay, cool.
And now what?
Did you make anything off of it? Or are you just saying that to just pump your chest up and to now lead these kids into thinking that, you know, if you own your masters, you're automatically rich? No. So I just look at it like, we have to really celebrate Birdman and Slim. Mm-hmm. That's real ownership. Mm-hmm. Those guys, this is 35 years of a lot of hit records and real ownership in their product and their label. And I just think we have to have more of that. We have to have more of that.
We have to, but do you see that in our future?
Yeah, I see it. I see it because the music business is changing too.
Yep.
If we're just talking about music.
Yeah.
The music business is changing in the sense of, you know, I was talking to a young fella the other day, and I was like, well, you know, and he's like, yeah, you know, I was like, what'd you upload it through? What you this? He's telling me the companies and this. And he's like, yeah, and I just pay a subscription fee here. I pay, you know, whatever, $150 a month, $200, or I mean, a year, or $200 a year, whatever it is, and I can upload as much music as I want, and you know, it gets my songs to the DSPs. That's ownership. Mm-hmm. And he's doing business, and now it's up to him now to go market it and promote it so that it can get on people's radar. And yes, it may take longer because he doesn't have funding and the things behind him and the machine behind him, but he has ownership in himself, and he may be starting a boutique label. Mm-hmm. May start with him. Like, that's the new out the trunk. You don't even have to press up CDs no more. I come from those days. Mm-hmm. Wild enough, funny story, my guy who owns Empire Distribution, our Empire label now, Ghazi, used to press CDs for me.
Right, Bay Area, that's right.
He pressed up my first mixtape. It's called Hide Your Breezy. He pressed that up for me because he was the first guy who had the machine that could make like 1,000 copies of a CD in like an hour or whatever it was. And him and his wife. This man has $1 billion company now. Empire is $1 billion company now. This guy used to press my CDs. So yes, it can happen. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I just, you know, he built this, and he'll tell you, he built this company off a credit card. Why can't more guys do that? Why can't more women do that? You just have to, you got to go for it. You got to be willing, you know. Tank and I, we own our podcast. We own it. Flat out, nobody else. We have no partners in that but him and I. We put up the bread. Why? When the podcast wasn't making any money, we were paying everyone else.
That's right. To keep it going.
To keep going.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on ourselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're definitely getting to a season of we need more betting on ourselves. Mm-hmm. Because again, that helps unlock what I call the collective betterment.
Yeah.
And given the state of things, I'd love to hear what you're doing to ensure that the cultures and the spaces that you frequent are being nurtured properly. And what are the recommendations or the things that you would share for other creatives and consumers to do to ensure that these things are nurtured?
I think the first thing that I'm doing and that we are doing within our company with R&B Money is that we take care of our people. That's the first thing. We do good business. Mm-hmm. It starts there. Mm-hmm. It starts there, and we're changing the cycle. We don't sign people to bad deals. We're not even trying to sign people to deals that we have ownership in them. We just want to do partnerships. You know, we don't want anybody to sign anything that we wouldn't sign.
That's right.
Right? So
do unto others as you'd want others to do.
It starts with us. So to me, I'm doing me. And I'm doing me as a good person who really wants to help other people and really wants to build with people. You know, I say it all the time, even if it's just a shout out. You know, we follow each other. I'm sure you've probably seen some artists that you've never heard of. Because I just saw them on Instagram or somebody. I was scrolling past something, they popped up on my Explore page. I liked the video they shot and I just posted it. And I put them on my story. I don't have to have any ownership in what they're doing. I'm helping the ecosystem though. And telling anyone else, which, you know, I try not to tell people what to do, but to me, what to do is to continue that. If you have a platform, it don't cost nothing to say that, oh, I like that.
That's right.
Look at that. Oh, you know, talk about, oh, my homeboy owns a restaurant, my homegirl owns a restaurant or clothing line or what does it hurt us? If I like it.
Right.
If I like it. You know what I mean? Because I think that's something that within our community, we're supposed to support it even if we don't like it. And I'm not with that.
Right.
I'm not with that.
Excellence has to be excellence.
You know what I mean? If your cheeseburger ain't worth $20 to me, I'm not coming back to give you another $20. Right. I don't care who own it. Yeah. But if it's amazing and the service was amazing and you got Wagyu and it's cracking, listen, go get you a $20 burger.
Listen, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of, while I'm making this $1, it takes nothing away if you're going to go make $1. And if I can help you to make that $1, it's not going to take my $1 to 75 cents or 50. And I think that's one of the big unlocks that I think we really need to galvanize around. And I just haven't seen it enough for me. And I think we're at a point where there has to be more of that because nobody's going to do it for us. And you started this whole conversation with, we feed all this culture. We've created all this.
So whatever we don't like, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Another reason we started the podcast, right? Because I was watching things and I'm like, I wouldn't do that. But instead of me going online and talking about what someone else is doing, I created an alternative. I created an alternative. Hey, that's not me. I'm not a clickbait guy.
Yeah.
In life, I'm not a clickbait guy.
That's right.
So why would I do it for
a check or
an opportunity or some form of entertainment?
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So, but I'm also not going to come on here or on my own platform and down whatever other people are doing.
That's right.
To feed their families.
That's right.
I'm just going to do something else.
That's right. That's right. You know, we're kind of coming out of, you know, seasons of, you know, fasting, right? We always talk about fastings and, you know, can be more than just food or social media, alcohol and all that. Is there a communal fast that you would advocate to move on to get further clarity, alignment, and focus?
Stop hating. Stop hating. Because, and I get it, you know, everybody has an opinion of things, but there's a hate is different. Hate is different. You can feel it.
Yeah. Doesn't
you know what I mean?
It's disgusting.
Stop hating. Fast from hating. You may not like something. Oh, that's not for me. Cool. But then running and telling a whole bunch of people, yeah, that ain't that. That's hating. Your opinion is, you know, you're okay. Wasn't for me. Going online and talk about it and talk bad about it. Now that's hating. Like I said earlier, you know, what may not be for me, I'm going to hold that to me. I don't need to broadcast that. Just is what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah, if we can stop hating, that'll really help.
Listen, that'll help a lot of us.
That'll help a lot of us, man.
A lot of us. You know, we always kind of close these conversations out with talking about it. What are the 3 seeds that you would like to share with the stewards of culture moving forward to give them these tools to kind of know how to nurture, shape, and mold this thing moving forward? What are the 3 things that you would want to equip them with for that?
I would say whatever they would want to do, research.
Okay.
Really research it. Really find out what you need to do to be successful in it. You know, get on your shit, man. Like really read up about the things you want to be a part of. Read up on the people who've been successful in that space. Because I feel like a lot of times, and read up on a journey or watch the journey, you know, because now we're here now. It's you know, it's cameras everywhere.
Yep.
Like watch the journey, watch people talk about their journeys.
Which people don't do enough.
They don't do that enough, right? Because but the journey is more important than
The destination.
the destination,
Come on.
right? And I think that a lot of people have they only take from when someone's successful.
Yep. It's a microwave error.
Yeah, instead of like, oh no, how did you get to that point? Like I've watched Byron Allen's Breakfast Club interview over and over and watched him talk about how he would go to the payphone and call these brands and try to sell ads to them for his show. You know what I mean? Or how he went to the bank and tried to get loans, and how he tried to find the right person to get the loan from, and so they wouldn't, you know, and how he was getting foreclosed on and all these different things. And those are the things I'm really interested in. Like I get it. Eventually you got to the Weather Channel and you bought the Weather Channel. What was the process though? You know what I mean? Don't cheat the process. I would say that.
It's huge.
That's one thing that I'm really a firm believer in is not cheating the process and understanding what you're in.
Yep.
Another seed that I would want people to.
You said research, don't cheat.
Yeah,
those are really
research.
good.
Don't cheat the process, and understand what's for you is for you. I don't count nobody's pockets. I'm not in competition with that at all. My goals are my goals. Even like I said about me winning, I just want to win at my life. I don't see. It's funny. Even with like you see the like the players who played before who are like, oh, and these guys get paid. I've never been that type of person. I've never been that type of person to think like, oh man, maybe I came too early, or because in music, I've been told that at certain guys, young guys that are in the game that are successful, but like, bro, I grew up on that hard.
Right.
The type of music you was doing, the Bay Area style music and this aggressive R&B, and I'm signed to a label that don't understand it at all when I meet you and don't really understand me. And now I'm like, wow, a lot of these guys, this is where music is. I don't look at it like that though. I just look at it like that's what I was doing. That wasn't meant for me. It's been greater later for me in another space.
That's right.
So that's another thing I would just say, man, run your race. What's for you is for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see too many people getting caught up in counting somebody else's money or, pocket watching. And I'm not with that.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned the journey piece. And like I started with, I've had the pleasure of seeing a great deal of your journey. I mean,
all of my adult journey for sure.
1000%. And again, I go back to that word of consistency. And I love, you got to close where you start, which is a beautiful thing, right? Of seeing you win in the comfort in which you're doing it on your terms and the character in which you've shown throughout it. And there's been tremendous growth, right? Because I even remember, to your point, when we first met, you were assigned to Electra, I believe, or something like that.
Yeah.
And, as much product as I was giving you, I don't think you had the amount of videos or anything to really bring all that stuff to life, right? Because you were going through your trials with the label, not understanding whatever. But you always maintain a level of class, optimism, and you were, again, a good person.
Yeah, thank you.
And so I'm just grateful to continue to see you show that in your evolution.
Yeah.
And having been able to see this journey, I can't tell you the level of joy as I see you with the podcast. I see you with your kid, like all the things. That is the real work that we all need to be honing in on. And you have done a great job of that work, brother.
That, man.
And I appreciate you. And you know I love you deeply and dearly.
Bro,
and I thank you for coming through and will always be a supporter of what you do.
Now, I'm going to tell a story before I leave.
Yeah, please.
That is connected to us. And I think I may have told it on the podcast, but I didn't fully, put the whole thing together. You had my father thinking I had a Nike deal. No, this is the funniest thing, bro. Like, he really thought. I told it on the episode with Snoop Dogg.
Somebody hit me and said, "Yo, they're talking about you on R&B Money," and I didn't check it out.
The episode with Snoop where we talked about how we represent our people.
Yeah,
everybody connected to us and how they're so proud of us, and sometimes that makes us feel weird toward because Snoop talked about how his auntie like kept the picture of him and Anita Baker. Mm-hmm. But it was his picture. Right. Like, literally, she brought it to her house and kept it at her house. Right. Like, no, this is my nephew.
It's Anita Baker.
And that's Anita Baker.
Yeah, that's Anita Baker.
Right? And I remember trying to explain to my dad, like, no, met this guy, man, really cool. This guy named Astor, man, he works at Nike and he's sending me shoes. He had San Francisco, the whole city, thinking I had signed to Nike. Damn it, like I had an Air Nuke coming out or something, or Air Valentine, something like that. And I'm like, no, but you know what? Whatever. If this is what y'all want to think, but
go with it.
They thought I had a shoe deal. And this is before Travis Scott.
Oh no, this is way before.
Signed to Nike.
No, way before.
Artists are signed to Nike.
Nobody was getting paid for that. Like it was a whole different deal.
You just get some product and you get some boxes and you get some, some new fresh shit.
Yep.
I was signed to Nike, bro, because of you.
I'm glad you had that contract. At least in my hood, I was. I'm glad you had that contract.
Love you, bro. Love you too, dog.
And thank you.
Absolutely.
We truly appreciate your support because it helps us fulfill our mission of promoting cultural awareness and personal development. Please click the subscribe button below to help ensure and solidify our mission.